technical difficulty, but hey, we can work it out. What I wanted to do is stay on your head like a helmet because I want you to visualize yourself where you feel like you need to be. And the only way you going to do that is getting to work. Try writing shit down, you know, make a list and check that shit off as you go. Do one thing at a time. Don't overload yourself like I did coming up and trying a bunch of different things. You got to focus on one thing. Once that get moving, then you can start incorporating something else. Get that moving, then move on to the next thing. But you got to get on it now, because the shit can really happen. It can. I mean, just let me tell you a short story real quick. I mean, not only have I spoken things into existence myself because of my belief as far as what I want. I've never dreamt of having millions of dollars. I've never dreamt of, being a celebrity or being a public figure. I've only wanted to obtain enough money to help support my family and be able to enjoy moments that people don't get to today, because of the economic issues that the system obviously oppresses people with, right? So, I got this out because I learned at some point that you have to start putting your ideas on paper. Of course, you can visualize an attack, but you also want to make sure that you write some of these ideas down because you may have to come back to some of them, in the future. And this right here, I'm telling you, I have drawings and ideas from years ago. And I never wanted to be a millionaire ever. I never even thought about it until I got in my 30s. Like once I started investing and I made good investments and I realized what investments could do and the vehicle that it is, that's the first time that I said to myself that it's possible that I can be a millionaire, because I know how to invest. I understand stocks and crypto to a degree, even though it could be a Trojan horse as well. But yeah, I want y'all, take a shout out to everybody real quick. I want to shout out everybody that's tuned in. Right now I want to say, man, look, if you feel like you can do it, the shit can happen. I know people going to jump in and out because we're living in a society, man, where people think they're going to get the glitz, the glamour, and the flash right there. You know, I wanted to show y'all this because this is something that's helped me progress as far as visualizing what I want to do and how I want to do it. I got old ideas, for basketball. I got my brand that I wanted. I'm also giving away a sweatsuit, couple of sweatsuits. Here goes the logo right here. Just in case, put your name in the comment or hit me on IG. If you want, man. We can try to get this to you. It's a large. But yeah, man. If you really want it, I'm pretty sure if you want it bad enough, you can make this shit happen. So that's what I wanted to show you guys, man. I got logos here. I'm trying to revamp my t-shirt business and I got a couple of ideas. I got a friend of mine to send me some information that they think that may help, so that's what I want to say, man. Just get to work, man. I can't implore you how much that I'm pretty sure you can make your shit happen. A lot of people don't really want it to happen. I mean, even me myself, I've always gotten to a place that I wanted to be, and then I'll just chill out because I was cool with where I was at. You know what I mean? And it's only been recent in the last 10, maybe 8 years that I've actually thought about becoming a millionaire. And it wasn't because of money or nothing like that. I just want to have the security for me and my family to not have to worry about the economic environment, that's taking place. So like I said, man, get your ideas out there, write them down, plan and attack. I'm trying to tell you, you can do this shit, and I have to say, don't wait. I'm telling you, you don't want to end up fucking 40 years old and you're trying to piece together things. Like I said before, I'm very, very lucky because I've learned how to invest a while ago. I mean, I'd say about 10 years ago. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, I started giving out information because I just couldn't take watching people destroy themselves because of the lack of financial literacy. And, once I started realizing that I could make things happen because I really feel it though. It's not something that I'm just sitting around wanting to do because I want to make money. Even with this brand here that I created, I wanted the brand I wanted when people saw the logo, I wanted people to think of the name. You see what I'm saying? And when people saw the name, I wanted people to think of the logo. This is called this logo here. It's called Love at War, and the love at war has nothing to do with a relationship. It's about what's your reason? What you give me? Tell me your why. You see what I'm saying? When you wake up, what reason do you get out of bed? What do you love enough to fight for it? You know what I'm saying? This what I wanted my logo and my brand to represent. I wanted it to be a part of who I am and what I want to represent and the man I want to be. You know what I mean? And that's what this is. I took the heart, I put it inside of a spade. It took me a year to create this logo because I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted the people to be able to look at it and not only like it, but feel it based on what it represented. You know what I'm saying? And it happened to come to me bit by bit, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that if you really, really believe it, and it has to be, in my opinion, for a reason that's positive, unless you on the other side, because evil get what it want too. You know what I mean? So, it depends on what side of the fence you on. But it's the same because if you out this motherfucker jump double dutching, you ain't gonna get what you want. That's one thing about energy out here that people don't get. Why people be mad as hell, like, yo, man, that person ain't shit. And they get what they want. Yeah, because they cool with who they are. They cool with being a piece of shit. They know that they're about to try to scam something. They know that they're about to try to get over. That's the reason why they get what they want, because their intentions, that's what their intentions are. So if you don't have intentions to get where you trying to go, and you out here playing around and you pussyfooting, 1 minute you want to pretend to be good, then you want some pastor shit, some fake pastor shit. You out here preaching, but then the next minute you out here, you know, buying $40 tricks and all that. You know what I'm saying? You out there living low. You out there faking. So you not going to get what you looking for. You got to decide which way you going to go. You know what I mean? And then that's when you going to get what you looking for. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why a lot of people stuck, because they playing around with themselves as far as how they decide to, jump in and jump out. So that's what that's about, you know. So make sure you visualize an attack. You write shit down, and if you joining in and tuning in, man, share, subscribe, man. Stop acting like you don't want to get this message in. Yeah, I know it may be bland, but at the same time, y'all too busy running around looking for these celebrities and these I guess flamboyant, flashy, diva, social media content creators to tell y'all how y'all gonna make millions of dollars, and y'all want to, hey man, you want to make millions of dollars, you better get your ass to work and stop getting on social media expecting somebody to give you the easy road when the easy road is through you. That, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead, you know, and keep that there. You know, we got some old shit, you know, that we drawing up. You know what I mean? I got some sweatsuits. You know what I'm saying? That I was drawing up. You know, I mean, and this was years ago before I actually started the brand. You see what I'm saying? I like I said, it was a visual thing first, and then we got here. You know what I'm saying? Then we got here. So that's what, you know, it takes, man. You have to actually, and believe me, uh I'm not out here selling a bunch of product or nothing like that. And that's because I chose to go back to work instead of focus on brain. You know, and that right there is one of the reasons why a lot of us don't make it, because we pick and choose, you know, what we're going to do, you know. So I'm telling you now, if you really want to do something, you might want to put all your energy into that, you know, especially in the economy that we're in. You know, it's probably best that you put all, and you want to work, you know, because you want to fuel your business. You don't want to go into production, or you don't want to put yourself in a position where you stress the fuck out. You know what I mean? Try to make ends meet without, you know, any income, and you're trying to start this business. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, if you really want it to happen, because people, you know, like I said, man, they're expecting glitz and glamour. Hey, man, this shit right here is really hard work, and for real, it's about you. That's what really makes it hard, because it's depending on you whether or not you're gonna do it, you know. So that's all I gotta say, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is what my kitchen and my bedroom has been looking like. Just writing down different things. I had to take this and flip it, and got some ideas that I've been writing up, new ideas. You know, like I said, I wanted to make $100,000 in the next 6 to 9 months, and I think that's possible. That's not hard to make six to $100,000 in 9 months to a year. You know, that's pretty basic as far as our economic standards, which isn't, because everybody doesn't make $100,000, but I mean, depending on your skills or the avenue you decide to go in, you know, it may be something that, you know, is easily obtainable. So that's my goal, you know. I also want to take my son to Thailand. That's something else that I want to write down. Let me write that down. And I've been writing with the left, so I want to, to get that tight, for real, for real. Because I definitely want to go to Thailand and see what it's about. Yeah. So that's something else I wanted to do. They keep talking about Thailand. So it's gonna be somewhere overseas. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. And like I said, I know I might be a little bit bland, but this is me right now in the AM. Just got to the afternoon, but yeah, just trying to go back through some stuff. I got some job offers, man, and I ended up declining one. I felt like they were trying to be on some slick, and I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking shit, but I was put. It seemed like they, not only did they lowball the offer after they told me they can do it, they're like, yeah, we can definitely do this, which I was like, oh, all right, what I mean, because it made sense, as far as the drive, the commute, the location was pretty far from where I'm at. I wouldn't have had an issue with it if they were going to pay me what I was asking, and after he told me that, I was like, all right, cool. And then he called me the next day and said that they can offer me. It was basically they wanted to offer me like two or three different things, but they lowballed me like $4. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what the fuck? I'm like that. Like at first, I was thinking about it like, okay, that makes sense. But then but I was just waking up. It's like AM. You know what I mean? I'm getting up and I'm not really paying attention. And I sat and thought about it, and I was just like, nah. So they wanted me to go take, go get some information so I could, my NVR and all that other stuff. And once they called me, that's when I told them like, nah, that, the location and the drive. And I mean, my car ain't got no issues, but I'm saying I don't want them to get him none either. You know what I mean? Driving back and forth 30 miles a day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all basically underpaying me. No. So, that's another thing. You gotta know your worth. You gotta make sure that whatever you doing is right for you. Now, anything beat a blank, like my mom used to say. You know what I mean? You gotta make sure that you got some income coming in if you're in a situation that is putting you in the cobra clutch. You know what I mean? But if you out here and you're looking for a position and you know what you really should be, you know what you should be paid, and someone's trying to undercut that. Now, I'm not saying it's non-negotiable. I'm saying that if you know that someone's trying to uh, pay you the least amount possible, and that position as far as your skill deserves more, you shouldn't take it. You know what I mean? Or, so that's where we at, man. If you tuned in, like I said, man, you can do this shit. You just got to make sure that you do it. Stop sitting around expecting a YouTube content creator to show you how, because that's where a lot of people are tuning in to see. A lot of people are jumping on the internet and they really want to see glitz and glamour. They really want to see me throw stacks of paper up in here, and I can do some of that. But for what? For what? I mean, money is something that comes and goes. I mean, people are losing their life over it. I mean, it's stressing everybody the hell out because people, most people aren't living like they portray on social media at all, so that right there alone is one of the reasons why it's not important to me. Money has never been, the end all be all, even here. Like I said, just a bunch of ideas, man. A bunch of stuff that I've thought up. Like I said, I thought this up. It took me a year to create this logo. It took me, it's and I didn't think that I was going to do the t-shirts. I really just wanted to do it. You know what I mean? But it ended up happening anyway. So that's what I'm trying to say. You can fucking do whatever you want to do. You just have to fucking apply it. You just have to say, you know what? I'm getting on my shit. and that's just what it is. Right now in my life. I'm making the decision because I've made it too far as financially. I've gotten to the point where I realize that I can really fucking make $1 million because I've done it where I've said to myself, damn, if I do that 8 more times, I'll actually have $1 million. Now you don't have a fucking million until you have 2 million. That's the fucking truth. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to it, you gotta fucking start applying shit. And personally, I don't give a fuck about money when it comes to, trying to be superficial and materialistic. Of course, I fucking like nice stuff. Who don't? We're creators. We were built to create things perfect in a sense. So of course we like nice things. But at the same time, this is not what this is about. This is about getting people in gear and making creative people realize how important they are to the system. You don't understand how important you fucking are to the system. That's the reason why you got to get out here and do what the fuck you talking about doing. I never intended to, create this brand. I thought about it. So I just started drawing it up. But when it started coming to be, once I got the drawing, I said, you know what? It's time to see if I can just do some t-shirts. And once I got a good response with the t-shirts, I started doing hoodies. Then I started doing sweatpants, the sweatsuits, I mean. And then it was just like, once I sold some, it was almost like it quenched my thirst. So I wasn't, I felt satisfied. But the truth of the matter is that I probably should have took it further because that's all I got was great responses, and I recently found a hidden message where people talking about my brand, and one guy was saying, "Yo, we really feeling your brand in the street," and this was like 2 3 weeks ago. I didn't know about the hidden messages on Instagram and Facebook, and there'd be like hidden messages within hidden messages. I didn't know that. So when I saw those messages, it made me say to myself, man, let me start looking at some old styles and some old art and some of the pictures that I have from, before. So that's the reason why, I got some of these prints, for the heat press. I got, like I said, here are some sweatpants that I plan on. I plan on giving away a couple of shirts, a couple of sweatsuits. Just to get some responses. Maybe what I could do different. Because I know there are a lot of people out there that enjoy clothing. So if you're anything like me, I love a good hoodie. You know what I'm saying? I love a good hoodie. Like I said, man, I got some drawings here. And this is just old ideas that we're going to see in the next 6 months. Can we bring back to life? I'm going to try to get you guys a t-shirt, this new idea that I got in the next 3 months. So that's my next goal. My next goal is to get you guys a new t-shirt. I'm going to stop focusing on sweatpants and all that other stuff and just focus on t-shirts. See how you guys would like the t-shirts. If you guys enjoy the t-shirts, then I'll go from there. But it's all about the people and what they want and what they like. I'm done trying to overextend myself when I want to, like I said, I want to make sure the customer's happy. You see what I'm saying? So that's what this is about. And yeah, man, it's time to fucking work. I ended up seeing an old friend over the weekend, so I kind of got sidetracked, but that's cool because I haven't seen my folks in a long time, man. This shit was about 10 years, so It was worth it. But yeah, man, let's get it together. And y'all tell me what y'all think. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the subscribe, whoever subscribed. But yeah, man, let's get the fucking work, man. I got logos here, man. Old logos. I'm about to get some more. I'm looking for a vendor now. And if anyone on here hears anything that resonates with them, man, please, man, like hit me in the comments, or you could go to my IG, message me, and please, man, whatever information that you got, I would appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because I lost a couple of my vendors, because I haven't contacted them in years, so I don't know if they changed their emails and stuff. But if you know a good quality vendor that does heat pressed, screen printed, uh cut out material, I would definitely appreciate it. So like I said, man, write your ideas down. I got all type of shit, man. Like, I got ideas that I was trying to make. You know what I'm saying? I got, like, when I be at work and I see certain things, and I create something that I'll be like, hold up, man, they need this for this. You know what I mean? And this was a washing machine that, yeah, I can't, y'all, they already seen it, the internet already got it. They, basically, these are a couple of my ideas, man. Like, I be at work on some shit, like you know what I mean, because I used to draw a lot when I was young. I really could draw back in the day, so, well, I'm more like a cartoon artist. But my father, he's a real good, like, artist. He could draw people and all that. But yeah, I used to have all type of ideas, and I used to just write on, whatever I could, and come up with all type of ideas, man. I'm trying to tell you, man, I got old ideas all over the place on napkins, and because you never know, you know what I mean? And that's how I learned to, bring things to existence, and now, I mean, because I know how to visualize and attack as well. But I'm saying, as you can see, man, you gotta I'm telling you guys, man, you gotta write shit down. You gotta. This right here is an idea that I came up for a basketball equipment that I wanted to make. I can't, I haven't seen anybody make it yet, so I don't want. Even though y'all just got it, so somebody might figure it out, but y'all know where y'all fucking saw it first. That, like, shit. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all another one. There I go, right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, this one of my, and as y'all can see, this ain't me just bullshitting y'all. Y'all see the date right there. What that say? 7/8/19. This ain't no shit I just pulled out trying to finesse y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing this shit for a while. So as you can see, boom. Let me hit y'all with another date, just so y'all know I ain't bullshitting. Like, I ain't trying. Y'all can see the paper. Y'all see how that paper turning colors? Y'all see that shit? That's old. These is old ideas. You know what I'm saying? These is old. That's old art. You know what I mean? Like, this was the one that I was thinking about before I did the Love at War. Black Rose. That's what I was thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Before, boom, couple of ideas. You know, shit. Telling y'all, you gotta write your shit down. You gotta visualize. You gotta attack. You know what I'm saying? And all this shit I've made happen. But now it's starting to bubble in my brain again, and I'm trying to get my son to be the face of it, because I'm old, man. I ain't trying to be out here, flossing. I mean, shit. I'm just the creator. I want to just make clothes, make t-shirts and give people nice t-shirts, and get give people some love. That's it. So, but you see the paper, how it turned colors, 7/21/2020. You see what I'm saying? This is, I've been doing this for a minute. You gotta visualize, you gotta attack. You know, visualize an attack. Just different styles and shit. But yeah, man, like I said, man, you could do this shit, man. I'm telling you. But now, is the like I said, it's my first time thinking about becoming a millionaire, man. I just want to do it for my children. I don't really give a fuck about, I'm good. God's given me everything that I've ever needed, and I just feel like it's time for me to use the intellect that God has given me to make some money for my children, and start making better investments and more investments. Now the economy looks a little bit jacked up, but I think they're just trying to scare people, away from this new digital economy that's coming. And so I'm just getting ahead of it, man. But yeah, this is the lab. I've been getting this stuff together for the last month, just about or more, to try to recreate and revamp my brand. Um, and everything has been on the up and up. My palms is itching. I wonder what that means. And don't they say that means you coming into some monies? Ain't that what they say? So I'll be letting y'all know if I did. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, the likes, all that, man. If you enjoy, subscribe, share. And yeah, man, I'll be bringing y'all that basketball news and activity and anything else that comes to activity when I get a shot. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take it easy. Love y'all.